My name is Henya Breyer, and I am a Holocaust survivor. And I live in Cape Town at the moment, in a village, retirement village. Before that, I lived in Bloemfontein. For many years, I came to South Africa at the end of 1952. I got married overseas and came to meet the family in South Africa. But I didn't go back. I stayed here and I lived here ever since. It's not hard to think about the past because the thoughts are with me all the time. You do not live through a horror like this and not remember it, or it has any effect on your life. I could not understand how a tragedy like this, the magnitude of it, could happen, how civilized people could allow it to happen, and I still cannot understand it, and you cannot really describe it. There are many books, many papers, many testimonies, but whoever was not there, I don't think he could understand or feel the way we did, and still remember. We were a very comfortable middle-class family, 4 children and parents, had a beautiful apartment and lived very well. We had the best. I went to a Catholic school to start with and was very happy. I had a wonderful childhood in Poland. I was born in Poland in a place called Radom, and I had a wonderful, happy childhood there until the Nazis came in 1939. The bombs started coming and we knew that the war started. The Nazis, the Germans, invaded Poland. And within 8 days, they were in our city. So they took all the public buildings, they stationed the soldiers there. First came the soldiers, and then 8 days later came the SS, the black uniforms. Straight away, they put their stamp, what they're going to do, and what the purpose of the invasion was. Well, to win the war with Poland, obviously, and then to get rid of the Jews. The minute they arrived, there were loudspeakers in every street in my town, I suppose in every other town as well, with Hitler's speeches. And he didn't make a secret of what he was going to do. He spelled it loud and clear. He was going to get Jews, and the whole day we had to listen to these loudspeakers and speeches by Hitler. He could speak for hours, shout and scream and tell them he's going to vernichten, to get rid of all the Jews. They caught people, put them to work with whatever manual work, street sweeping, cleaning toilets, all sorts of things. They just grab the people and make them do this. And there were beatings all the time and shooting as well. If you resisted or in any way, the punishment was nothing else but shooting and killing the people. They opened 2 ghettos. There were more than 30,000 Jews gathered from Radom and the little villages and places around it. So there were actually 2 ghettos. The one was in a suburb called Glinice, and the other one was in Radom, and next to the nearby where the synagogue was. And there were crammed, in these 2 small places, but crammed 30,000 people, men, women, children. And then it started really to get bad. The food was scarce. There was lots of disease, typhus, all sorts of things, and lots of shootings and beatings, the usual thing. And it was horrific to see all this. We had a lovely life before that, and from one extremity to the other. My dad had a shoe factory, so he was useful to them because they were using the materials that he had. And he had work. So once you had work, you were safe for the time being. But if you couldn't work, small children, women, elderly people, didn't have a good prospect of surviving. we were 4 children, and my dad still had his work. So for the moment, we were safe. They killed on that day, I can't remember exactly, but it was in 1942, 20,000 people were shot, dead, and buried in mass graves. So the small ghetto was completely liquidated, and from the big ghetto they added all those old and young people, and they went straight to the gas chambers. By that time I was 16, and so I volunteered for one place that they looked for sewing people, machinists on the machine sewing. They told me already, the girls that were there, that if you broke a needle, you get lashes. If you did something else, if you didn't fix up a garment properly, then who knows what can happen. So I didn't know what to do. I go to her and I said, look, you have very sophisticated machines here and I'm not used to it. I don't want to break anything. Would you please show me how it works? Which she did, funnily enough, and that's where I stayed for a whole year. Only those who worked were still there, and my mother was still there, and my younger sister was still there, my father was there. My older brother was shot. He was 18 years old and he was physically disabled. He couldn't walk very well, but there was nothing wrong with him otherwise. I was a few months in this little workshop when they dismantled it, and they sent us to the first, all 300 of us went to the first concentration camp, which was Majdanek. Majdanek was a big camp near Lublin, and we eventually arrived there, and that was the procedure. You had to strip naked in the cold. The SS people are standing on the side in full uniform, warm and comfortable, and we have to strip naked and march in front of them. And those who were still regarded by them as not able to work on one side, and the younger people and able to work on the other side. And obviously the ones that went to the left went straight to the crematorium. There was a crematorium in Majdanek. So that was the fifth they used to call, the fifth little camp was the crematorium. Whoever went there never went back. Here we saw for the first time the women SS. And there was the chief woman SS. I remember her name, I remember her face, I'll never forget it. Her name was Elsa Erich, and she was the cruelest person in the world that I've ever seen or read in the book about. She barked at people. But the woman that was in charge of the rest of the SS women was good to me. She got it into her head that I'm not Jewish, because I didn't look Jewish, and she told all the others, she's not Jewish, she's half-breed. So she used to give me food, and I must say that she never hit me or never was cruel to me. I just had to work very hard, and I had food, which was a lifesaver at that time. My little sister was taken from there with all the children straight to the crematorium. So it was just my mother, and they sent us to different other camps. And my lot was sent to Auschwitz. I had, all the time I was in the camp, I said it in my other interviews as well, I am not going to die. I am too young to die. I have not lived there yet, and I am not going to. It was a mantra. I just repeated it to myself. But I must say, if it was just that, I wouldn't have survived. The people that went to the left were obviously straight away to the crematorium, and we went to have a shower. And we knew that the showers, by that time we knew what was going on and how they killed the people. So we didn't know whether we were coming out of these showers alive or dead. In January 1945, they took us out from Auschwitz. The Russians were very near, And it was 4 days before the Russians liberated Auschwitz that we were sent on the death march. The rest of the able people who could stand on their feet, they sent on this death march for 3 days from Auschwitz to Breslau, on foot, day and night for 3 days. The snow was red of people, the blood of people. They shot on the way, they couldn't walk anymore. And from Breslau, they took us across Europe to the other side, to Bergen-Belsen. We were liberated by the British, and sick with typhus, starved nearly to death, and that was what I looked like, all by myself. My best friend died because there was no medical attention. There were not enough doctors. I had frostbites of 3rd degrees on both legs. I couldn't stand. I was in a horrible, horrible condition. It took a couple of years to get back to sort of normal, but normal we never will be. It always leaves a stamp that you can't erase. And my mother had family in Palestine, so eventually we could get there. So I lived a few years there. I met my husband, we got married, and I came to South Africa. And I lived here all these years.
And your
the 2 children, my family's here, the 2 sons, and their families are here, and they look after us. And, my husband passed away a little while ago. I had a picture with him when we got married, and that's the end of the story. So I'm still here to tell the tale, and it was an experience that I don't wish on anybody and hope will never ever happen again.